So I'll open the shloka. The 16th shloka, 26th chapter, third canto. Prabhaham paurusham prahu kalameke yato bhayam ahankara vimudasya kartu prakriti miyushaha. Prabhavam, the influence. Paurusham, the supreme personality of body. Prahu, they have said. Kalam, time factor. Eke, some. Yataha, from which. Bhayam, fear. Ahankara vimudasya, deluded by false ego. Kartuhu, of individual soul. Prakrutim, material nature. Tushaha, having contacted. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. The influence of supreme personality of Godhead is felt in time factor, which causes fear of death due to the false ego of deluded soul which has contacted material nature. The living entity's fear of death is due to his false ego of identifying with body. Everyone is afraid of death. Actually, there is no death for spirit soul, but due to our perception in the identification of body as self, the fear of death develops. It is stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, 11th canto, 2nd chapter, 37. Bhayam Dvitiya Biniveshaha Syat. Dvitiya refers to matter, which is beyond spirit. Matter is a secondary manifestation of spirit, for matter is produced from spirit. Just as the material element described are caused by supreme personality of Godhead or the supreme spirit, the body is also product of spirit soul. Therefore, the material body is called Dvitiya, or the second. One who has absorbed in this second element or the second exhibition of the spirit afraid of death. When one is fully convinced that he is not this body, there is no question of fearing death, since the spirit soul does not. If the spirit soul engages in spiritual activities of devotional service, he is completely freed from platform of birth and death. His next position is complete spiritual freedom from material body. The fear of death is the action of the kala or the time factor, which represents the influence of personality of Godhead. In other words, time is destructive. Whatever is created is subject to destruction and dissolution, which is the action of time. Time is a representation of the Lord. And it reminds us also that we must surrender unto the Lord. The Lord speaks to every conditioned soul as time. He says in Bhagavad Gita that if someone surrenders unto him, then there is no longer any problem of birth and death. We should therefore accept the time factor as supreme personality of Godhead standing before us. This is further explained in the following verse. Prabhupada ki jai. Prabhavam paurusham prahu kalameke yato bhayam ahankara vimudasya kartuhu prakriti miyushaha. I will stop sharing this and will go into discussion. Okay. So, Hare Krishna. I will just start explaining. For that, I will just. Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimade Jai Pataka Swami Niti Namane Namo Acharya Padaya Nitaya Krupa Padayane Gaura Kada Damadaya Nagar Brahma Tarine Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavali Pashatya Desha Tarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vasadi Gauravaktanda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. So this third canto is mainly dealing with creation, and there is a major part is conversation between Maitreya Muni and Vidura. And Maitreya Muni is explaining very detailed and about material creation. Also, he explains about incarnations of the Lord. So he goes on explaining. So now currently we are in this chapter where some chapters we are discussing about pastimes of Lord Kapila. Lord Kapila was a Shaktavesh incarnation of the Lord. Shaktavesh means empowered incarnation. Okay. And like Vyasadeva also is Sattva incarnation. Okay, literal incarnation or Sattva incarnation, like that. So Kapila Muni also has taken his incarnation as an incarnation to especially focused on Sankhya philosophy. Now, what is Sankhya philosophy? So, what is Sankhya? So, Sankhya means Sankhya. Sankhya means like numbers or elements. More precise, elements is a better word. Of course, numbers also is true for Sankhya, but mainly elements. Now, where is so-called material science background, we can know elements means like typically we say material elements. In Vedas, we are talking about material, Panchamahabhuta or elements. Okay. Or in chemistry, material science, we say elements, oxygen, iron, element. And then many times we refer elementary knowledge, elements of physics, elements of chemistry, elements of whatever. Elements means at a very fundamental or basic level, that is elements. Atom level, or whatever you call. It's not necessarily atom, but at atomic level, or it's an elementary level, beyond which further it cannot be understood. In the sense, it has got that elements have got basic purpose, and that purpose decides element reaction. Remaining thing is the evolution of that element further and further. Okay, anyway, so this is very detailed discussion. It's not that important today. What is more important is we need to understand what is the message of Sankhya philosophy. Sankhya. What Sankhya means? Sankhya, elementary knowledge. So Lord Kapila brought in the elementary knowledge of this material world. Because we are discussing the creation in this canto. Creation means we discussed some months back on the Mahat-tattva. Mahat-tattva means it is a manifested representation of Pradhan. So Mahat-tattva means there is a varieties have started manifesting in the early creation of the material world. So material world is there, spiritual world is there. Material world is like a cloud in the clear sky of spiritual world. That is one thing. So there are many material world universes, and then material world is having many universes. And Lord incarnates himself in Mahavishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, right from creation of material world. He is like material world is coming from, material universes are coming from his pores of the skin, nostrils and everywhere. And every creation, every universe, he is going there as a Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And further in every atom, with living, there is a Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, Paramatma. So like that, he is pervading everywhere. He is primarily creating this. So the first thing comes as in the material world is a Brahma, impersonal Brahma. That is a very early phase. Okay, so it's a impersonal Brahma. Then Pradhan comes. Pradhan means it is just started manifesting, but not fully manifested. And the three modes of material nature have not started acting. And then when three modes of material nature comes and time also comes, it goes into Mahat Tattva. Mahat Tattva is the elements. Mahat Tattva means gross sum total of all these 24 elements. We discussed that. In this particular shloka, time element is getting discussed. So if you see Bhagavad Gita also, it discusses about 5 major topics. They are not elements in Bhagavad Gita. There are 5 topics, but of course, some of them are elements. So for example, Bhagavad Gita discusses mainly with Paramatma. It starts with Lord Krishna. He is the ultimate supreme personality of Godhead, and Paramatma is another feature, impersonal feature. Okay, Brahma, Paramatma. Localized feature is Paramatma, impersonal feature is Brahma, and the original feature is supreme personality of Godhead, that is Bhagavan. So this is one topic discussed in Bhagavad Gita where Lord Krishna himself is, Bhagavan himself is talking about himself in Bhagavad Gita. Also is talking about other elements, which is soul, Atma, that is we, Jiva. And third is Prakriti. Okay, that is more or less nothing but the Mahat Tattva. This creation, material creation. And then he talks about karma. The karma which living entity is going to do. and laws of karma and all that. So these are the 5 elements. Okay. So, and time, of course, that is what impact time, kala. So kala, atma, paramatma, kala, atma, paramatma, and prakriti. These are these 4 elements are not elements. Sorry, these are the 4 topics, and these things or these entities are actually immortal. They are permanent. They never get destroyed. Prakriti also doesn't get destroyed. We may say Prakriti, there are some changes. Some cloud is becoming water, water is becoming cloud, all those apparent changes. But at a fundamental level, Prakriti doesn't get destroyed. It's permanent. It is immortal. Only the karma get destroyed. Karma and fruits can get destroyed. Okay, so this is Bhagavad Gita describes about Kala. Bhagavatam also describes about Kal. Here itself and many places. So in the creation now, time is getting described, where Lord Kapila is explaining Sankhya philosophy. In the Sankhya philosophy, mainly 24 elements are discussed. But it's not only 24 elements that what leads to Sankhya philosophy. Actually, Sankhya philosophy talks about 24 elements, but it mainly talks about 24 elements in context to Atma, Paramatma, and how they are connected, how this Prakriti is there, and what is the relation between them. Bhagavad Gita also touches this topic. So Bhagavad Gita talks about these 5 topics, which I told, not only 5 topics individually, it talks about 5 topics on how they are interconnected, how we are connected to Lord, how Lord is connected to us, how Lord want us to, sort of behave, what is Prakriti, like that, karma. Similarly, everywhere you go, all those relations between all these elements or tattvas are getting always discussed. Right? So Kala is one of the important 25th element. 24 elements is discussed as a part of Mahatattva, which discuss Maitreya Muni tells to Vidura, which we discuss. Same thing, briefly, Lord Kapila also is explaining. Okay. So 24 elements we know. 5 elements of Panchama Bhuta, air, water, earth, is all those things, fire. Panchama Bhuta, gross element. They are gross element. Then 5 indriyas, 5 senses. Sense of touch, sense of taste, like that. Then 5 object of senses, taste, sound, like that. Okay, form. So 15. Then 5 are working senses, knowledge acquiring senses. Knowledge acquiring, sense of walking, sense of creation, sense of evacuation, sense of talking, speaking. 5, so 20. So these are the material elements. They are material. They are not spiritual. They are material. And then there are 3 subtle senses. That is mind, intelligence, ego. Mana, buddhi, ahankar. 23. 4th is contaminated consciousness. Sort of, some people describe it sum total of all these contaminated consciousness sense, or some people say, okay, it's only contaminated consciousness, contaminated mind, rather. So all that, so which basically links all these senses to the soul. There's some, whatever you call this bit abstract there. So 24 element, and 25th is Kal, which mixes all those elements. So Kala mixes all these elements, and further meter starts, you can say, or further activity starts. And of course, all this happens under the influence of 3 gunas. 3 gunas are also independent of this. 3 gunas sort of directly works with Lord. And 3 gunas, time, and then 24 elements, and then whole creation starts moving, and then activities and varieties, and all that life starts. But this is only for material creation. This is not a part of spiritual. Spiritual creation, time doesn't have any impact. And all are transcendental. Everything is made of spirit there. No material thing. This is the way we have to understand. And we are in material world, trying to satisfy our senses, trying to be happy. But that's not going to work. But that is our contaminated consciousness under the influence of false ego. The Lord is facilitating us by giving this paraphernalia, by giving these elements, in artificially trying to enjoy the senses, material body. Right? So all that are interconnected. And life goes on. But Bhagavatam comes into picture, and Bhagavatam tells, Kapil Muni tells in Bhagavatam, that hold on, these elements are there, you are not those elements. Prabhupada mentions in this purport. So we just go to purport just to touch upon. The living entity's fear of death is due to false ego for identifying the body. Everyone is afraid of death. Actually, there is no death for the spirit, but due to our absorption in the identification of body as a cell, the fear of death develops. What is the translation of sloka? Translation of sloka says the influence of Supreme Personality of Godhead is felt by the time factor, which causes fear of death due to the false ego of the deluded soul who has contacted materiality. So Prabhupada is mentioning here, we have identified ourselves with our body. Body is nothing but these 24 elements. We have identified ourselves with this body under the influence of false ego. And all this interaction is driven by time. So time forces you to drive the interaction. And time will make sure everything is going further in its own way, in the way Lord wants, in the way Maya wants. Okay? And we are forced to work with body, forced to enjoy the senses, and karma and karma phalas, and janma mrityu jara vyadhi. Then there is a creation, material creation, destruction. Brahma comes, Lord Brahma comes, he creates as a secondary creation. We gets created, Munis, Prajapatis is created, again it is maintained. And maintained means we do our activities. Then there is a partial creation, destruction. Then there is a big destruction, there is a big destruction. Lord Brahma also get destroyed. I mean, like that. Okay. In one day of Brahma, there are 14 Manus, and then 14 Manus having 1,000 cycles of Kala Chakras. That is 4 yugas. Like that, and it gets repeatedly cycling. It goes on, and we get into janma mrityu jara vyadhi, janma mrityu jara vyadhi. Again, next body is given. All this is driven by time. You can understand. We all are from science background, so in science also there is always time element for every activity. There is nothing like independent of time. With time, everything changes. Material degrades. Okay, then there is a just in mathematics. Dx by dt, dc by dt, that t is always there. That is time. We can understand very practically. I mean, Bhagavatam is a pure transcendental science. Material science is part of it. So, but we can understand some part of it by material science also. So like that, time, everything is driven by time. With time, everything changes. And you can't surpass that influence of time. Impossible in material world. That's what Prabhupada says. We can't. But for us, how we perceive the time, we can't see the time. Oh, there is a time here. No, we can perceive, we can see it. We cannot see it, but we can perceive it. How? Because we see things are getting pushed, activities are going on, things are changing. We are also dragged into all this, and it continues. But the most important, perceivable, easily understandable, or we do it, we perceive it day to day is a death. The influence of time is seen by death or fear of death, whatever, it's the same thing. The biggest fear is death. So fear is the thing which you can pursue, which is a representation of time. Is it not? Because we are fearful. Always we are having anxiety. What will happen next? What will happen next? What will happen next? Here, I have got so much money. How to protect it? Family, how to protect it? How to protect my job? How to, protect my body? We are struggling. And anxiety. Instead of struggle, there is anxiety. But sometimes things go well, again there is some anxiety. So it's a fear. Anxiety means ultimately it's a fear. Why? Because Prabhupada writes here, because we are accepted material body which is temporary, destroyable, destructible. But that part we accept as a ourselves. We identify ourselves with that element, which is a Dvitiya. So Prabhupada explains, refers the Bhagavatam sloka. I'm just going to that Bhagavatam sloka, just 2 minutes. We just read that sloka, very important sloka. I'm just projecting it. Hold on. Bhayam Dvitiya Abhiniveshataha Sya Vishadapetasya Viparyayos Asmrutihi Tanmayaya to Buddha Abhijattam Bhaktai Kayesham Gurudevat Tatmaha. We'll read only translation, we'll not get into purport. It's very long purport, but it's very important. You can read other time. Fear arises when a living entity misidentifies himself as a material body because of absorption in the external illusory energy of the Lord. When the living entity thus turns away from Supreme Lord, he also forgets his own constitutional position as a servant of the Lord. This bewildering, fearful condition is affected by the potency of illusion, potency for illusion called Maya. Therefore, an intelligent person should engage unflinchingly in the unalloyed devotional service of the Lord under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, whom he should accept as his worshipable deity and as his very life and soul. Very clearly mentioned. Fear arises when living entity misidentifies himself as a material body. So, Prabhupada explains here also that we are misidentifying ourselves with material body under the influence of Maya, illusion. What is the illusion? Illusion itself is, what is the real illusion of living entity? The real illusion of living entity, apparently there are external illusions, Maya, Prakriti, three modes and all that. We are getting into that. But real illusion is I am the God. So when living entity gets illusion by rebellious attitude or by thinking that no, I am God, I don't accept authority of Lord Krishna, that is a real illusion. And further illusion starts with that basic illusion. False ego develops, then we get pushed into material world, then we try to enjoy, we struggle. But real illusion is this, and as a part of that basic illusion of working independently of the God, enjoying independently of the God, that's a basic illusion. But as a part of that, further illusions keep developing. And the next illusion is I am body, because we are in material world. We falsely identify ourselves as our body, and we tend to enjoy the body, and that illusion continues. And then further illusion, everything. Why? What is why? It is because it's temporary. I am permanent. We are permanent as a soul. As a soul, we are permanent. We are Satchid Anand. What is the characteristic of soul? We are eternally blissful. We are eternal. We don't die. Soul doesn't die. We are eternally blissful. We are always Ananda. And we are fully knowledgeable. But since we have forgotten that identity of ourselves, and we have taken identity of body, which is temporary, which is destructible. So there are changes in the body. Body takes birth, body grows, body gets maintained, body creates byproduct, body gets old, and body dies. It's all body. Soul doesn't die. Soul doesn't get disease. Soul doesn't get illusion. It's a body which gets illusion, which is fully under the nature of Prakriti, under the influence of Prakriti and time. So that is going to have the way it is going to have. You don't have any control. Sometimes we feel we are able to control this material nature a little bit. We feel that. But that's illusion. That's illusion. It is not correct. We are not able to control anything out of this. We have got, of course, limited control. Let me be a little bit more elaborative on that. We have got limited control. It's not that we don't have any control on anything. We have got control on material elements, this Prakriti, but it is a superficial control. It's a secondary control. The primary overriding control is Lord. Overriding control is Lord. Base overall control is Lord. But you are giving that, Lord is giving you freedom to have some control. So that control also you get by the mercy of Lord. So definitely we have control. We can have more and more control little bit to some extent. It can be better than this, but you will not have ultimate control of, because ultimate controller is Lord Krishna, and ultimate proprietor is Lord Krishna, ultimate enjoyer is Lord Krishna. We are a secondary, we are secondary, we are subordinate, we are servitor. And if you live with this consciousness of secondaries or servitor or uh, servant of Lord, as a secondary controller of Lord, then our life is successful. How? Because we slowly come out of illusion of primary control, which is not correct. We are never primary control. It's illusion, it's a fallacy. So we'll come out of that fallacy. We'll come out of asat and we'll go to sat. Right? So it means what? Means we will get to know our original identity, which you have temporarily forgotten. And once you know our original identity slowly by devotion service. Prabhupada mentions how to do that. In the end, he mentions, he says in Bhagavad Gita that if someone surrenders to him, then there is no longer any problem of birth and death. We should therefore accept the time factor as Supreme Personality of Godhead standing in front of us. This is further explained in the following verse. Okay. And of course, he is mentioning we should, surrender to our spiritual master also, because with his help only we are going to understand the real truth. Because Lord will not directly interact with you per se. Of course, Lord interacts with us. He is there as a Paramatma, so he interacts. He is interacting with us on daily basis. We don't realize, or sometimes we realize, no doubt about it. But he interacts sort of indirect way. And slowly as we advance, Lord interacts with a direct way also. But to understand the knowledge, because we are fallen, but our spiritual masters, they will give us that knowledge. Tadvidya pranipatena pariprashtena sevaya upadekshanti tadgnanam jnanina tattvadarshina. So we should surrender to Guru, serve them, ask them questions in a very polite way. They will impart the knowledge to you, real knowledge to you, because they have seen the truth. This is Bhagavad Gita. So this is a process. So Prabhupada mentions that if you surrender to Lord, if you surrender to Guru, and take it as your, worshipable deity. Guru also, Prabhupada says, you should take Guru also as a worshipable deity, like Lord. Then that knowledge will be imparted to you, and our original identity will be revealed to ourselves with the help of this knowledge, which is a transcendental knowledge. Then we will understand how time is working on us. Now we are understanding to some extent. We say, time passes. We say, oh, time passes by so fast. Just now I was playing in the high school, and now we are almost having children, and we are working, and we are almost the middle of the age, middle of the life. Oh, time passes. We kept on saying that, but yeah, of course, we realize to some extent, but actually we really don't get convinced by that. We still feel, we are going to be eternal. Yudhishthira Maharaj asked Yaksha, what is the most surprising thing in the world? So, rather, Yaksha asked Yudhishthira Maharaj. Yudhishthira Maharaj tells, the most surprising thing, everybody sees their relatives, friends are dying under the influence of time. Everybody is getting destroyed. People are dying. But everybody thinks I am going to be here permanently. I am not going to get dying. I will not be dying. This is the most surprising thing, which is correct. And why? Why it is surprising? It is surprising because it's a very subtle illusion. See, Lord Krishna's Maya, Prakriti, Maya works very intelligently. She is very intelligent, she is very powerful. She is definitely much more powerful than individual living entity. So it will keep. So we are under my, everybody dies, but we see and we start making plans, start to end till as if we are going to be there permanently. Is it not the case? Correct. We have seen this. Or all of us are busy making plans, and we make plans of some like years and years. We make plan as if we are going to be there for thousands of years. But actually, we know our life is not even in thousand; it is only in decades. But we do that under the visions of mind. Of course, I'm not saying that we should not plan the life or material life is not even. I'm not saying that. Nowhere it's said. It is important because whatever lifespan you have got, you need to plan your material point of view also. Because if you don't plan material life, you can't execute spiritual life properly because there will be disturbance. So that way you need to have very beautiful planning in material life also. But it should be such that ultimately it should get culminated into spiritual realization. So material life is a secondary planning. Spiritual life is a prime. So you should first worry about how I am going to get this knowledge, how I am going to work with Guru under his shelter, how I am going to understand Lord Krishna, how I will get rid of this material life in this lifespan itself. That should be the first planning. To do that, you will need to have a lot of material planning because you need to have a job, you need to have a source of money, you need to take care of your family, they need to be properly taken care in terms of education, growing, upcoming, proper sanskaras. So this needs planning and this needs whatever we are doing is right, correct. So we have to work, we have to do something. All that is fine, but that should be secondary. Thus, ultimately, that planning also we should say that at the end of the tunnel of this planning, we should make sure that yes, ultimately the main objective of the human life is to understand Lord. Athato Brahma Jignasa. So all your material planning also, we should make sure that they are ultimately driving you towards or facilitating you towards getting spiritual life. Then your material life is also successful. In fact, there's nothing like material and spiritual. If you really work with Guru, work under the shelter of Guru and Lord Krishna's instruction, material life is also spiritual that way. Because there's nothing like material. If your material life is ultimately getting culminated into spiritual realization, then it is also spiritual, it's part of it. The problem is we tend to delink all these things. Life is different, spiritual, okay, I will do little bit here and there. Not here, all the devotees here, they are understood. I'm telling in general. Devotees here on this forum or who are related to Prabhupada mission, we understand all this and we are trying to do a bit on that. But still there is a lot of improvement needed. If you see, introspect ourselves. That's why we should work on with some, guru and advanced devotees and our Shiksha Gurus who will, sort of guide us on this. So anyway, so the time comes, so we say, we mean, not we, not devotees. I'm not talking devotee, I'm talking general mass of people who are atheists or non-devotees or they are ignorant people. They may not be atheists. Some people are ignorant, some people are atheists, some people are non-devotees, some people are various types of people who actually say, I don't believe in God. They say that. They behave in such a way that they don't believe in God. Some people say, I believe in God, but they don't behave that way. Then that is also same thing, whatever it may be. But majority people say nowadays in Kali Yuga, we don't believe in God. Huh? God, I don't know. He's there or he may not be there. I don't know. I'm there. That's all. And I don't care for. This type of people can be, that mentality can be rectified by this shloka if they have got blessings of God. The shloka tells me, I am there present in front of everybody in the form of time, and God says this. Lord says this. Lord said, I am present in front of you, in front of time, in front of you standing there. Who is not under influence of time? We discussed that. Everybody. Who is not under influence of death? Everybody. Janma Mrityu Jara. So Janma Mrityu Jara. That is time. and death is again, that's the end of that particular slot of time. Next slot starts again, time drive. So it's all the same thing, time and death basically. So time comes in the form of death, and ultimately time and death works under Maya, and Maya actually works under Lord. So time is present in front of us in the form of Lord, and time is fear for materialistic people, non-devotee. Why? Because that is the way it is in my world, isn't it? So who says no, I don't care for God? No, you have to care because time is present in front of you in the form of, God is present in front of you in the form of time. You have to worry about it. And nobody can escape it. Means nobody is free from influence of control of the Lord. Nobody. Only difference is people who are theists or devotees, they voluntarily accept the supremacy of Lord and they surrender to Lord, saying that yes, you are there. You are there as a Lord. You are there as a Lord, very loving Lord. You are there as a time who is very ruthless. You are there as a death which is ruthless. You are there as a Prakriti who is very good and very um, merciful on us, who is providing us a lot of facilitation and material and all that. So Lord is present in the form of everything. Whatever we see, Lord has. That is what Sankhya philosophy is. Sankhya philosophy is not just talking about 24 element here, this or water here, fire, and then they were okay. So next what? No, Sankhya philosophy Sankhya philosophy is that is the details. But what is the basis of what is the sum and substance of Sankhya philosophy? Sum and substance of Sankhya philosophy is 24 elements, Prakriti, soul, Prakriti, and super soul. The relation between these three is a Sankhya philosophy. And Sankhya philosophy actually takes you to devotion. There are atheistic Sankhya philosophy also came in Kali Yuga by some another name Kapil. That was atheistic. They say this is only Sankhya philosophy. That's all. This is the 24 elements. Whatever we see is what we believe. These are the 24 elements. We worry about it. That's all. And we will keep studying it. We'll keep studying it. And that's all. God, we don't see, no, there's no God. That is horrible. It defeats the purpose of Sankhya philosophy. But Lord Kapila has given the Sankhya philosophy in Bhagavatam, which we are currently reading, discussing, is a theistic, and it is taking us to the Lord's devotion. Because why? It is telling us to study Sankhya, understand that what are these elements, understand who are you, and you are trapped into this, but 24 material elements. You are not this element. That is the first thing Sankhya philosophy. You are not this. You are above this. And who creates this? Lord. So who are you? You are Lord's servant. How to get rid of this Sankhya, 24 elements clutches? By Lord's devotion. So it is basically telling is Lord is here, you are here, there is a curtain of 24 elements in between. You just understand this curtain and remove that curtain by surrendering to Lord. Or it is, you can't remove it yourself, it will be removed in such a way that you will be able to see the Lord, realize the Lord, although you are in these 24 elements for some time. Absolutely no problem. Just because we are in this body doesn't mean we cannot understand or realize Lord. No, you can understand because that's Lord's power. He can take you to he can give you any knowledge. Even though you are in material body, you can understand spiritual. You can be on spiritual platform, 100% spiritual platform. Your body itself will get spiritualized by the mercy of Guru and Lord. If you are sincere and if you are really going to that standard. So till that time, we don't get that. Okay, so we have to slowly go to that, progress to that God's realization. Anyway, so coming back to the point, the summary of this shloka is, or the sum and substance of shloka, which Prabhupada mentioned 3 to 4 points is, Prabhupada tells that time is eternal factor and time is part of these 25 elements, which is part of plus time, which works under Lord's direct control. So when we say we are under the control of time, it means that we are under the control of Lord. So if we are the under control of Lord in the form of time or whatever, we have to surrender to Lord to get rid of time, influence of time. For that, we need to understand that these 24 elements is material. We are not these 24 elements. We are not this body which is made of 24 elements. Or we are not this Prakriti which is made of 24. We are other than this. We are a marginal potency of Lord. Prakriti is the lower potency of Lord. And Lord is there, of course. And we need to surrender to Lord to get rid of this material nature. For that, we have to change the consciousness from bodily consciousness to Krishna consciousness. So once we change from bodily consciousness to Krishna consciousness slowly, we understand this science, and the science of Sankhya or Bhakti ultimately, and we get rid of this. We go to spiritual world. In spiritual world, there is no influence of time. That's what then means it is Vaikuntha. In the material world, time is present in the form of anxiety or death. That is Kunta. In the material world, spiritual world, there is no time. You are Vaikuntha planet. Vaikuntha means no anxiety. And this is a very practical thing. We are, whatever we discuss today is on based on day-to-day experience. We can easily understand that. And even in this material world also, when we are actually serving the Lord, serving the devotees, we are actually getting rid of this effect of time or effect of Prakriti in a particular way. We can realize it. We are slowly getting rid of this. If you surrender and if you serve the Lord very meticulously, very sincerely, that is the way to get rid of even this material world itself. We can get rid of these 24 elements in terms of consciousness so that it doesn't affect us, because it's all consciousness which is creating problem. I mean, what I mean to say, it is all our lower consciousness or bodily consciousness which is a cause of problem. Now, if we change the consciousness, probably problem doesn't exist. Physically, we may be there, but that is a different. I mean, we have seen that. So this is how we have to understand this sloka, and Prabhupada has nicely explained it very clearly, and we need to take advantage of that. So this is what I wanted to share today with you. So we can get into questions, answer, or comments, or suggestion, anything. Over to you, Prabhuji. You can ask any comment or any questions or comments also. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. So if there are no comments, no questions, we will close the session. Okay. So Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhu.
Dandavat Pranam. Mantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Okay. Okay. Thanks, devotees. Thanks for your participation. Hare Krishna. I'm ending.